Welcome to the Owning Your Sexual Self podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Main, awesome wife and dog mom for life. I'm a sex therapist turned sex coach, and I run a successful business selling relationship enhancement products. I absolutely love talking about all things sex. So you can expect this podcast to explore all things related to women's sexual health because that's what I'm here for. I'm here to help you discover and embrace what brings you pleasure so that you can own your sexual self. If that sounds good to you, then keep listening and let's fucking do this. Wow, you guys, I am literally sitting here in disbelief yet full belief at the same time, which sounds a little bit crazy, but the universe, oh my gosh, the universe never ceases to amaze me. I cannot wait to just share kind of the things that have been stirring up for me and the women that I've been connecting with since November, since starting to do these women's circles. And I'm recording about this today because we just finished a women's circle actually last night. I'm recording currently on Saturday, March 19th. And last night we had a women's circle to honor the full moon, which was yesterday, March 18th. And it was just incredible. And I wanted really to share the journey. You know, I hosted my first one in November, and I wanted to share the journey with you all of kind of how this started, what a women's circle is, what is done at a women's circle, what is the point of it, what is the energy that comes from it, share some stories with you from some of the women that have attended the circles that we've done. And it's just, I just can't continue to say, you know, I've been on this universal connected journey for quite some time now. And just now, I would say in the last year and a half since working with my business coach, Alexa Martina, or Alexis Bowditch now, getting more into the spiritual side of things and the astrology side of things. And again, it's incredible. So kind of to give you just a roundabout example of what a women's circle is. For thousands and thousands and thousands of years, women have been coming together and literally coming together in circle where they hold space for each other, where they are able to create magic. They are able to create with intention and emotion and vulnerability. And the outcomes that come from these interactions and these literal circles that women are able to do is incredible. It is so powerful. Not only the feeling and the vibe that happens when you're actually in the circle and the conversation and the connection that happens when you're in that space with one another, but the things that you're able to put to rest, the things that you're able to set intentions around and then see what happens over time. And thinking back to that moment of sitting in that circle, sharing your intentions with some strangers, with some whom you may know, but just having that full trust and understanding and just knowing that you are supported, that you are loved, and that you are exactly where you're supposed to be in life right now in this exact moment. And that's really what happens when we do these circles. And this was very, very new to me up until I would say the last year or so, when my coach, you know, somebody that I speak so highly of, again, Alexa Bowditch, and she has an amazing community of not just women, but just people in her circle. And I follow her very closely on social media. Of course, I've been working very intensely with her in group sessions and a private mentorship with her, very much alongside her for the last year and a half. And so I've got to know her life very well. And one of the things that I just admired about her so much is that community that she's created. And seeing her do these women's circles and attend them and host them and hearing about that and hearing about the magic that came from them, you know, at first I really didn't get it. And I think that was probably the experience for the girls that have been attending our women's circles that I've been hosting now. When I first text them like, hey, I'm doing this thing. But this woman is somebody that I just trust so much. And again, somebody that I respect so much. And just, I know that she would never do something herself that she wouldn't also want somebody else to experience. She does this own work. Sex coaches, all of us, we do this own work to further our own personal development so that we can help others that come into our space. And so when I saw Alexa doing these women's circles, and I also follow a few of her friends on Instagram and social media as well, and then get to see their reactions from it and see it from their side of the lens, I knew it was something. I knew it was something that I wanted to do. That sort of community is something that I feel like I crave in my own personal life. That is not to discount my friend group by any means. I love my friend group. I love the people that I have surrounded by me, and I want more. And that's okay. At first, I felt some guilt around that, and looking at her and kind of doing a little bit of comparison of my friend group versus that friend group. And then I went on this private retreat with her in September and got to learn again more about her and meet her in person for the first time. And I again just remember thinking, gosh, I want a community like that. I want my friends to be on this new level, just this different level of consciousness when it comes to fucking life. Really is what it comes down to. And then coming from a background of, being with Peer Romance and having such a close network of women, I run $1 million team. So I've had things like team meetings and team retreats and just smaller group interactions with leadership and corporate staff and all these things. I've had these interactions with women, and I've seen the magic that can come from these interactions from that space. However, that space was always business focused. Yes, we did some personal development and those times as well, but I felt there's always an agenda behind it. And even when you try to not have an agenda, I think it still comes from the space that I am the leader of this team. These are my team members, and there's some monetary value that I am gaining from having a connection with these women. And no matter how hard you try to X that out, facts are still facts. That monetary thing that still is there. And while I'll never discount any of the retreats or anything that I've ever attended, because again, there has been such growth out of it. The thing about women's circles is that there is no financial gain. There is no, quote unquote hidden agenda. It is just women having this space and having this opportunity to come together and become better individuals, become better people, better women, better business owners, better friends, better spouses, better whatever it is that they're coming, better parents even. And I love the circle that we've created because we have just such a diverse group of women that are coming from all different walks of life. Some are moms, some are not moms, some are entrepreneurs, some work in corporate America, some are just starting their entrepreneur journey. And again, it's just incredible to come to this space and talk about the things that just feel present in your life. And we do them around either a full moon or a new moon, which essentially they happen every month. You have a new moon and a full moon in every single month. And you can practice, you can do your ritual, your ceremony, whatever you want to call it, your circle on the day of the actual full moon. But for most moons, you can observe them a few days before or a few days after, which is why I wanted to record this podcast now, because if you listen on Monday when this is going to launch, it's not too late to do some of these things that I'm going to share with you on the podcast today. And I also want to encourage you to host your own women's circles. And I'm going to tell you, when I left this retreat in September, I was still continuing my coaching individually with Alexa. And I remember bringing up and her asking, what do you think about doing these women's circles? Is this something that you want? You want more community? Why can't it be you? Why do you have to go and seek out somebody else that's doing it and find a circle that you want to join? Why not create your own and hold this space for your friends and give your friends an opportunity to start to see this side of things? And I would say I'm definitely, in my friend group, I am the most woo of all of us, I would say. And even to say that, I am not anywhere, I'm not like level 10 woo. I definitely have some crystals. I have several card decks. I feel like I'm getting deeper and deeper into my woo. I think my woo started really when my knowledge and understanding of what the law of attraction meant, kind of shifting from having religious views into having views and support in this, what I call universal intelligence. That is my quote unquote God, is the universe. That is who I look up to. That is who I speak to. That is who I pray to. And that yeah, that is just, again, a journey that I've been on and that I want to be able to share with other people. So it was, I think, mid-October, and I reached out to some of my close friends and I said, "Hey, I'm gonna try this thing. I'm gonna host my very first women's circle." I should actually pull up the actual text that I sent out, but okay, this was the actual text. "I'm going to host my first women's circle on December 3rd for the new moon. Are you in?" Thinking back, I'm like, I didn't even give them any context, didn't even tell them what the hell a women's circle was, nothing, just "Are you in?" And again, this was my close group. These are my people. These are my go-to, the people that I knew. If anybody was going to trust me on this or believe in what I was going to be doing, it was going to be these individuals. I started there, and then I knew that there were certain people in my life that I've come across that I knew would be into this, and that would be that they would have something to offer. And so I extended and I wanted to reach out to those people too. These are also women that I just value a lot in my life, people that I've had really good connections with. And yeah, that's really where it started. And I've just pulled up this one text message. This was the thread from my friend Lauren. And she said, "Holy fuck, are you in my brain right now?" Because this text, again, the universe just has such an interesting way of doing things. And this, this was something that she obviously needed in her life. But then she asked what a women's circle was. And for this new moon that we were going to honor back in December, it was the New Beginnings new moon. And I gave her a little snippet of it. I said the new moon phase is a more introspective time and represents new beginnings as we plant seeds for the future. It's a good time to set clear intentions for the month ahead, clarify goals, start new projects, and acknowledge your growth since the previous new moon. So as a group of women, we will be discussing these things. So that's literally, and I sent that same little blurb to everybody that asked, like, what is a women's circle? Some of my friends, they didn't even ask. They're like, "Yeah, girl, I'll be there." Like we all have those friends. Like they're down for anything that you say. So that was the text that I sent out. We had 5 women at our first circle on December 3rd. So it was myself, my friend Lauren, who I just mentioned, that she's been on the podcast before, Lauren Lipkeman, my best friend, Jessie Dial, my other very close friend, Anna Ellis, and and then Sarah Johnson, who Sarah used to be a team member with us through Pure Romance, and is now she started her own business called Enchanted Possibilities and is making herbs and yoni steams and bath things that, again, she was like one of the woo people that I knew was going to be into this. So those are the 5 that attended our very first circle. Some couldn't make it. Some still are kind of in our group that haven't been able to make it to a circle yet, but will be here eventually. And then since doing this first one, kind of word has got out and people have reached out and said, "Hey, I would really like to be a part of this. I would like to bring my friend that I think would fit in really well." And, we had our next one last night, and we had 9 women here last night, which was incredible. So again, these are honored at, either a full moon and or a new moon. So new moons usually happen at the beginning of the month. So I want to kind of just give you a blurb of what the new moon means. So the new moon it is when the moon is at its darkest, and it is sometimes called the dark moon. From here is where it gradually builds in strength towards the full moon, and it usually happens within about 2 weeks. So each of them are usually 2 weeks apart. The new moon phase is a more introspective time and represents new beginnings as we plant seeds for the future. It's a good time to set clear intentions for the month ahead, clarify your goals, start new projects, and acknowledge your growth since the previous new moon. It's also a good time to let go and release what no longer serves you so that you can welcome in the new, especially because this phase can spark a desire to pause and reflect. New moon energy can be honored the day before, the day of, and the day after the actual new moon. So that is a new moon. And again, typically those happen at the beginning of the month. So again, if you are it is really about setting intentions for what you are bringing in. Now, the full moon is more about letting things go. So the full moon is the phase when the sun illuminates the entire moon, making her as full, round, and as bright as can be. This phase represents completion, fertility, abundance, and transformation when the seeds from the new moon come into bloom. Because the moon is directly opposite the sun during this phase, it can also be a time of friction, polarity, and more intense emotional energy. Everything is in full illumination, which also means it's a good time to look honestly at the full spectrum of what is or is not working for you. With this higher energy also comes more outward connection and celebration. With your psychic abilities, plus your psychic abilities may be more awake. So listen closely to what you intuitively want to shed, let go of, and release. Full moon energy can be honored the day before, the day of, and the day after the full moon. Now, that is just a small little breakdown of what kind of the differences of the new moons are. And when we get together for a women's circle, we basically do an activity around this. So, what our first women's circle looked like, again, we practice it under a new moon. This was back in December. And we really set intentions. This was perfect because we wanted, it was a December new moon, so last full moon of the year. We set our intentions going into 2022. We talked about the things that may have held us back in that year of 2021, things that we wanted to let go of. And we did an exercise where we were able to let go of those things. We burned some paper, and then we were able to plant the seeds, just as I said in the new moon description, and plant the seeds for the things that we wanted to call in. So for that new moon, I provided everybody with a little mini succulent, and we wrote our intention. We wrote our word of the thing that we were trying to call in or wanting to call in for the new year. And we wrote it on a bay leaf and we planted it inside of our succulent, and everybody got to take home their succulents. So that was our activity. And with every moon as well, we always start by dropping in. We start by saying what is present for us. How are we feeling? We introduce ourselves. There's definitely some mingling going. We have drinks, we have snacks. And we're able to, again, just get to know each other. We go over the agreements of the circles, what our expectations are of ourselves and each other. We want to make sure everybody feels respected, everybody's boundaries are being met, and people are getting the support and love that they likely came there for. And so that was our first session, which was in December. And then moving into, I asked the group then, so the original 5 that came, I said, is this something that we want to do moving forward? Is this something that you guys would like to do, you think, on a monthly basis or bi-weekly basis, or do you think every other month? And everybody was like, monthly for sure. Like the feedback about it was just incredible. Again, it was just a time for women to come together and just do this thing that is just so much more meaningful, and you get good conversation out of it, you get the good support from it, and you just get that higher level of self-awareness and connectivity. So going forward, so we did not have a moon planned for January. The days just didn't match up for what was going on in life. We had one for February planned. No, I lied. We did have one planned for January and February. January's came, and it was a time that it was not good. Everybody ended up canceling the day of, which spoke so much to that actual moon, that January moon that we had. And I can't remember if it was a new moon or full moon. Otherwise, I would give you some context around it. But I remember, it was the mood that Mercury was in retrograde. That's what that was. And we know when Mercury is in retrograde, shit is just all kind of crazy. So we honored that. We said, you know what? We all know our bodies best. And so we're going to just table this one. Next one is scheduled for February, whatever. And everybody was still very excited. February, whatever came around, and Michigan, gotta love her. It's a huge, terrible, terrible, terrible snowstorm. And these women, we have women coming from up to an hour away that drive here to my home where the women's circle is hosted. So we weren't going to risk anybody's, life or put anybody in danger by hosting the circle. And again, people were kind of stuck in traffic, stuck at work, stuck at home. And so we had to cancel February's new moon. Now, finally, today is actually the last day of winter as I'm recording this. Tomorrow, the March 20th, is the first day of spring. So we've actually had some good weather here in Michigan. So we knew going into this March circle that happened last night, we had already missed the last 2 months. People, I think, were craving that interaction and craving the magic really that comes from this. So we were able to meet and commence and do our full moon ceremony last night. So the first one again was a new moon. This one was a full moon. So now we've had a ceremony for each of the two types of moons. And last night was another just powerful night. Like I said, we had 9 women here last night, and this full moon was all about putting to close, letting go of the things that have been kind of holding us back, the things that we've been struggling with, things like guilt, shame, trauma, disappointment, comparison, jealousy, all of these things that just don't serve us. They serve a purpose in a moment, but they're not something that we want to let sit and resonate and kind of stir within us. So that we were able to create some energy with water last night. We used herbs and essential oils to indicate things that were holding us back. We dissolved those with some sea salt, and then we were able to go out in the backyard, stand on the canal, observe, and be under the full moon and dump our bowls of water into the canal for them to be washed away and sit under the moon energy all evening. So it was, again, a very, very powerful night. And what was so cool about last night is, our first meeting was in December. And at that meeting, again, that was a new moon. So many of us set intentions for what we wanted to call in for the new year. For instance, my friend Anna, at that new moon is when she decided and she set the intention that she was going to go off and start her own business. This was when she kind of spoke it into the circle. It became more real. And yesterday, so our second circle, yesterday was her last day working her current job, her last day ever working for somebody else. And now she is 100% on her own as an accountant and doing taxes. And it was just incredible, the timing, the divine timing of that, what happened on that December 3rd circle and what happened in the meantime leading up to last night's circle. We had Sarah, who I spoke about with Enchanted Possibilities. She had been making these herbs and making these things, but not really doing anything with it. She kept saying, I'm going to set up an Etsy shop. I'm going to do something with it. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. And at that December 3rd circle, she set the intention that she was going to do something with this business, she was going to be called to do something. She was going to make this an income producing thing. As of last night, Sarah has her products in 2 different local boutiques that are here and is able to sell online as well. So that was something that happened. For myself personally, I feel like I've talked about this already, but 2021 was really a struggle for me getting my coaching business off the ground and getting my programs going, and just being seen as a professional in this light and not just seen as a pure romance consultant or somebody that sells products. And so for me, I was able to let go of a lot of shame and comparison and feelings of failure at that December 3rd circle so that I could call in the intentions and make space for the people that do see me for the value that I am and do want to pay me for my time, my skills, and my knowledge, and pay me what I know that I deserve to be paid. And for me, currently at that December 3rd circle, I did not have any one-on-one clients. I had just had another program that didn't sell in a way that I thought it was going to sell or that I wanted it to sell. And so, now I have 10 one-on-one clients, and I have multiple people that have purchased my Sexual Comps Academy. So again, utilizing this moon energy and the energy of the women's circle, we were able to put close to so much and make room and call in the things that we are wanting to call in. Last example I'm going to give you is my friend Jessie. Jessie is one of our girls. She's not an entrepreneur. She works in the medical field. So she's, your quote unquote corporate sort of world job. But she had been in a place in her career that she just knew she was at a standstill. She knew that she wanted to change. She wasn't sure what, and she was damn scared to leave the job that she currently had. But again, she put to a close the things that she felt was holding her back on December 3rd. And she was not able to attend last night's women's circle because she actually just recently got a new job, which came with a incredible raise and benefits and opportunity to travel, and to be able to stand by a product that she very much truly believes in. So again, just great transformation. People have made strides in their marriages, in their career, in their personal life, in their ability to manage anxiety and depression, their level of self-confidence. I mean, it's been amazing. Last night my sister was in attendance for the first time. That felt very special and near and dear to me. I had my friend Jamie, and she brought her friend Jillian. My friend Lauren brought her best friend Brittany, and that was our 9 that we had last night. And again, it was just I just can't say enough greatness about it. And the feedback that I get from them after the circle, when we leave the circle, it's just, you feel so alive. You feel so free. You're able to get this shit off of your chest. You're able to let go of this stuff, and you do an activity behind it. We also do a card pull. So I had a new goddess deck that I used last night, and just the creativity and the intention and the focus and the detail that goes into this. And when you pull that card and you're able to observe it and look at the picture and look at what the card is saying, and feel into that and see, what does it mean for you? What is this card stirring up for you? What do you gather when you're looking at the person on this card? And it is just, again, so wild to me how these things, they just, I think it is all with purpose. I have to believe that. I have to believe that I pull the card that I pull each day, and that it is the universe sending me a message. And this is another story I wanted to share for you. Just again, getting on here, I had just done a card pull right before getting on here to record today. And at our December 3rd meeting, Sarah actually accidentally took home one of the cards from my purple card deck that you've probably seen in my stories. That's my go-to card deck. That's what I do my daily pulls with. And she had taken the change in direction card. That was actually the card that she pulled on the December 3rd circle. And so she messaged me afterwards, and she's like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I accidentally have this card. I'll bring it back to the next circle. Well, we didn't have the next 2 circles. So she's had this card, of mine. So it's been missing from my deck for 3 months now, but over 3 months. And she brought it to the circle last night, and we laughed about it. I'm like, well, I guess I didn't need a change in direction, And so I'm doing my card pull this morning, again, right before I got on this. And would you believe what fucking card I pulled today? Shuffled them, mixed them up, shuffled again, spread them out, do my little woo hand pass guiding over my cards until I feel called to select one card from that line of cards. And would you believe that I pulled the change in direction card, the card that she's been holding on to for the last 3 months? That is the card that I pulled today. And I want to read you this card. Change in direction. The changes you're experiencing are divinely directed by your newborn willingness to open your heart to love and guidance. You are protected now and in the future. So follow your path to the happy outcomes you desire. This card, I truly believe that there was a purpose why she had this card, and that there was a purpose why she pulled this card today. I recently had my numerology updated reading with a woman. I will put her information in here. Her name is Noelle Grace. I love her so dearly. She does numerology readings. So I've had 2 readings with her so far, and it's given me insight onto what each year is bringing me. It made so much sense. I was able to meet with her first in the fall last year, and it gave me so much sense and clarity around what a clusterfuck of a year 2021 was for me in business, and gave me the ability just to make sense of it and to have an understanding and appreciation and a love for that. Because if I had not gone through that and been able to stand up to those things, I would not be where I am today, which is why, again, I believe it is all for a reason. We have to make meaning of every journey, every situation that we are in. And when I had my updated reading with her, just in this past month, I have really been noticing a shift in my business. Like I said, I've been making and creating more space for people to come into my network, people that see me in a different way, people that see me how I deserve to be looked at as a sex and relationship coach, and people that are wanting my services, that are trusting me to go on this journey and take them on this journey of exploring their sexuality more and getting more out of their relationship. And so in hearing that and understanding that this is my year that I have to quiet my mind. Her exact words were, the doer is becoming undone. I've always been that hustle, 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 go, go, go type of person. And now the doer is becoming undone. I swear I should get that tattooed on my body, because when she said that, it just hit me right in the heart. Like, holy shit. And for me, this year is of the utmost importance to me and my progress and my growth as a person, as an entrepreneur, as a wife, that I get very quiet in my mind, and that I allow what the universe is trying to tell me, I allow that to come in. And if I continue to make noise in my brain and I don't allow myself to be quiet, I'm not going to be open to being able to receive that. So I believe that I got this change in direction card because I am starting to see those changes. It says the changes that you are experiencing are divinely directed by your newborn willingness to open up your heart to love and guidance. And for me, that is speaking to my ability to quiet my mind, my ability to be able to sit in silence, to do some eye gazing exercises as part of my daily routine. And again, just be present with myself. And again, hold that space and be present for these women that are coming to the Women's Circle, and to see and honor the growth and change that they are creating in their lives. It's all so fucking magical. I know it sounds so cliche, but it blows, like I said at the beginning, it blows my mind, yet it doesn't blow my mind at the same time, because I do have a belief in this and I do have an understanding in this. And of course I would pull the change in direction card today after not having it for 3 months, right? Like, of course I would. And again, it's just incredible. So I wanted, again, to record this podcast today because, like I said, I've been getting a lot of questions about what are the Women's Circle, what happens at them, what are they for? And so I hope this gave you some clarity around it. This is something that we try to cap at 10 people every month. It is definitely done better in a smaller group. It's not something that would ever, that I currently right now in my mind would never open up to be something, super large. But there is an opportunity perhaps to start hosting more of them as we get more people that are interested in them. And again, I maybe want to help other people learn how to facilitate them. So I'm not sure exactly where or what this is going to evolve into, but I am excited. I'm excited to see the transformation that comes from our circle last night. And we have our next circle coming up again in April for the full moon. And I'm just ecstatic to see the group of women again. I hope that we can get our consistent girls and our same ones that are able to show up each time, because again, it is such a great thing. Like I said, for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, women have been getting together in circle, in ceremony, in some ritualistic way. And it's just incredible. So thank you for listening. If you are interested in learning more about women's circles, or perhaps attending a circle in the future, or hosting your own, definitely send me a message on Instagram or send me an email. I would love to chat more with you. And that's a wrap for today. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. Enjoy your full moon. If you're curious when the next moons that are coming up are, you have our new moon. Oh, our new moon is actually, next one is April 1st, on April Fool's Day. And our next full moon is on April 16th. And that's the day before Easter, if you celebrate Easter. So thank you all so much. I love your faces, and I'll see you on the next podcast.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you loved it, be sure to subscribe so you never miss a thing. And if you loved it so fucking much, be sure to leave a 5-star review. I'll see you next week, and until then, keep owning your sexual self.